Welcome to this podcast on the pursuit of worth. Listen and be inspired.
Have you ever wondered why is it that some individuals happen to find themselves in a space where they seems to be more equipped as to anticipate the future, so much so that every opportunity that arises, before it arrives, they kind of anticipate it, and once it arrives, they're just in a best possible situation to utilize that. So this technique that I'm sharing with you is very simple, but is equally very powerful. I call it 3 sights, simply because sometimes when people engage in forward looking, they engage with only one dimension of sighting. But also I discovered that your ability to connect and align between these 3 sights does enable you to be better in anticipating the future. So the first one is hindsight, the second one is insight, and the third one is foresight. Each one is a sight in its own right.
Up next, a deep dive into insight.
Now imagine a situation where your frontal lobe about spontaneity, creativity, decision making, problem solving have been enhanced, and so much so that every time you encounter the same situation, then you tend to do it a lot better. So this is what tends to happen if you are very conscious about your hindsight, learning in hindsight. So that is one. Now the second one, which is also I find very equally important, but I feel like is somewhat misunderstood, is the issue of insight. More often than not, when you talk about insight, what comes to people's mind is ability to have a look at a certain data set and then glean insight from it. While that could be true, I also want you to think of insight not just for what a lot think of it, which is to just look at certain data and try to find insight from it, but look at insight as a process of taking an inward step. I feel like for you to be able to appreciate the full power of insight is about you able to take inward step. Certain circumstances in life are factual. For example, someone lost a job, or maybe a certain situation happens in their life. These are factual. But someone who has a firm grip of what insight is, that could take an inward step, they could see this as an opportunity to transform their lives in the future, rather than to just sit down and being continuously worried without a solution. I remember reading something where I think it was Whitehead who mentioned this, and I find this incredibly fascinating, that you must be in a situation where fact is no longer a burden to memory. What that means is that you are able to invest the fact in multiple possibilities. For example, thinking of whatever is it that happens in your life, but think about multiple scenarios, and particularly the positive transformational ones. So finally, the foresight. This is one of my favorites. Now, foresight, I see foresight as strategic awareness of the future. Now, what tends to happen is that a lot of people, the way they engage the future is in a way that they are not fully consciously aware of the future. Now, strategic awareness of the future makes a huge difference to what you do. There are multiple ways in which you can do that. It could be as simple as visualizing the future, rehearsing the future. It could be even creating future episodes, of your own life, So I think once you find yourself in a situation, and this is what I had always done in my life, and it has made huge difference, is to align between the hindsight, my insight, as well as the foresight. And I believe this is a powerful yet simple and practical approach to living a life. I do hope this makes a difference in your life, and if it does, if you find this useful, like, share with friends and colleagues as well. Thank you very much.